Genesis chapter 12. Now the Lord said to Abram, "Go out from your country, and from your family, and from your father's house, into the land to which I will be your guide. And I will make of you a great nation, blessing you and making your name great. And you will be a blessing. To them who are good to you will I give blessing, and on him who does you wrong will I put my curse. And you will become a name of blessing to all the families of the earth." So Abram went as the Lord had said to him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he went away from Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their goods and the servants which they had got in Haran, and they went out to go to the land of Canaan. And Abram went through the land till he came to Shechem, to the holy tree of More. At that time the Canaanites were still living in the land. And the Lord came to Abram and said, "I will give all this land to your seed." Then Abram made an altar there to the Lord who had let himself be seen by him. And moving on from there to the mountain on the east of Bethel, he put up his tent, having Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. And there he made an altar and gave worship to the name of the Lord. And he went on, journeying still to the south. And because there was little food to be had in that land, he went down into Egypt. Now when he came near to Egypt, he said to Sarai, his wife, "Truly, you are a fair woman and beautiful to the eye. And I am certain that when the men of Egypt see you, they will say, 'This is his wife,' and they will put me to death and keep you. Say, then, that you are my sister, and so it will be well with me because of you, and my life will be kept safe on your account." And so it was that when Abram came into Egypt, the men of Egypt, looking on the woman, saw that she was fair. And Pharaoh's great men, having seen her, said words in praise of her to Pharaoh. And she was taken into Pharaoh's house. And because of her he was good to Abram. And he had sheep and oxen and asses, and men servants and women servants and camels. And the Lord sent great troubles on Pharaoh's house because of Sarai, Abram's wife. Then Pharaoh sent for Abram and said, "What have you done to me? Why did you not say that she was your wife? Why did you say that she was your sister? So that I took her for my wife. Now take your wife and go on your way." And Pharaoh gave orders to his men, and they sent him on his way, with his wife and all he had. Genesis chapter 11. And all the earth had one language and one tongue. And it came about that in their wandering from the east, they came to a stretch of flat country in the land of Shinar. And there they made their living place. And they said one to another, "Come, let us make bricks, burning them well." And they had bricks for stone, putting them together with sticky earth. And they said, "Come, let us make a town, and a tower whose top will go up as high as heaven. And let us make a great name for ourselves, so that we may not be wanderers over the face of the earth." And the Lord came down to see the town and the tower which the children of men were building. And the Lord said, "See, They are all one people and have all one language. And this is only the start of what they may do. And now it will not be possible to keep them from any purpose of theirs. Come, let us go down and take away the sense of their language, so that they will not be able to make themselves clear to one another. So the Lord God sent them away into every part of the earth, and they gave up building their town. So it was named Babel, because there the Lord took away the sense of all languages, and from there the Lord sent them away over all the face of the earth. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old when he became the father of Arpachshad, 2 years after the great flow of waters. And after the birth of Arpachshad, Shem went on living for 500 years, and had sons and daughters. And Arpachshad was 35 years old when he became the father of Shelah. And after the birth of Shelah, Arpachshad went on living for 403 years, and had sons and daughters. And Shelah was 30 years old when he became the father of Eber. And after the birth of Eber, Shelah went on living for 403 years, and had sons and daughters. And Eber was 34 years old when he became the father of Peleg. And after the birth of Peleg, Eber went on living for 430 years, and had sons and daughters. And Peleg was 30 years old when he became the father of Reu. And after the birth of Reu, Peleg went on living for 209 years, and had sons and daughters. And Reu was 32 years old when he became the father of Serug. And after the birth of Serug, Reu went on living for 207 years, and had sons and daughters. And Serug was 30 years old when he became the father of Nahor. And after the birth of Nahor, Serug went on living for 200 years, and had sons and daughters. And Nahor was 29 years old when he became the father of Terah. And after the birth of Terah, Nahor went on living for 119 years, and had sons and daughters. And Terah was 70 years old when he became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. These are the generations of Terah. Terah was the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran was the father of Lot. And death came to Haran when he was with his father Terah in the land of his birth, Ur of the Chaldees. And Abram and Nahor took wives for themselves. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Iscah. And Sarai had no child. And Terah took Abram, his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, the wife of his son Abram, and they went out from Ur of the Chaldees to go to the land of Canaan. And they came to Haran, and were there for some time. And all the years of Terah's life were 205. And Terah came to his end in Haran. Genesis chapter 19. And at nightfall the two angels came to Sodom. And Lot was seated at the way into the town. And when he saw them, he got up and came before them, falling down on his face to the earth. And he said, My masters, Come now into your servant's house, and take your rest there for the night, and let your feet be washed, and early in the morning you may go on your way. And they said, Not so, but we will take our night's rest in the street. But he made his request more strongly. So they went with him into his house, and he got food ready for them, and made unleavened bread, of which they took. But before they had gone to bed, the men of the town, all the men of Sodom, came round the house, young and old, from every part of the town. And crying out to Lot, they said, Where are the men who came to your house this night? Send them out to us, so that we may take our pleasure with them. And Lot went out to them in the doorway, shutting the door after him. And he said, My brothers, do not this evil. See now, I have 2 unmarried daughters. I will send them out to you so that you may do to them whatever seems good to you. Only do nothing to these men, for this is why they have come under the shade of my roof. And they said, Give way there. This one man, they said, came here from a strange country. And will he now be our judge? Now we will do worse to you than to them. And pushing violently against Lot, they came near to get the door broken in. But the men put out their hands and took Lot into the house to them, shutting the door again. But the men who were outside the door they made blind, all of them, small and great, so that they were tired out with looking for the door. Then the men said to Lot, Are there any others of your family here? For we are about to send destruction on this place, because a great outcry against them has come to the ears of the Lord. And the Lord has sent us to put an end to the town. And Lot went out and said to his sons-in-law, who were married to his daughters, Come, let us go out of this place, for the Lord is about to send destruction on the town. But his sons-in-law did not take him seriously. And when morning came, the angels did all in their power to make Lot go, saying, Get up quickly and take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, and go, for fear that you come to destruction in the punishment of the town. But while he was waiting, the men took him and his wife and his daughters by the hand, for the Lord had mercy on them, and put them outside the town. And when they had put them out, he said, Go for your life, without looking back or waiting in the lowland. Go quickly to the mountain, or you will come to destruction. And Lot said to them, Not so, O my Lord. See now, your servant has had grace in your eyes, and great is your mercy in keeping my life from destruction. But I am not able to get as far as the mountain before evil overtakes me in death. This town now is near, and it is a little one. Oh, let me go there so that my life may be safe. And he said, See, I have given you your request in this one thing more. I will not send destruction on this town. Go there quickly, for I am not able to do anything till you have come there. For this reason, the town was named Zor. The sun was up when Lot came to Zoar. Then the Lord sent fire and flaming smoke raining down from heaven on Sodom and Gomorrah. And he sent destruction on those young and old, with all the lowland and all the people of those towns and every green thing in the land. But Lot's wife, looking back, became a pillar of salt. And Abraham got up early in the morning and went to the place where he had been talking with the Lord. And looking in the direction of Sodom and Gomorrah and the lowland, he saw the smoke of the land going up like the smoke of an oven. So it came about that when God sent destruction on the towns of the lowland, he kept his word to Abraham, and sent Lot safely away when he put an end to the towns where he was living. Then Lot went up out of Zoar to the mountain, and was living there with his 2 daughters. For fear kept him from living in Zoar, and he and his daughters made their living place in a hole in the rock. And the older daughter said to her sister, "Our father is old, and there is no man to be a husband to us in the natural way. Come, let us give our father much wine, and we will go into his bed, so that we may have offspring by our father." And that night they made their father take much wine. And the older daughter went into his bed, and he had no knowledge of when she went in or when she went away. And on the day after, the older daughter said to the younger, "Last night I was with my father. Let us make him take much wine this night again. And do you go to him, so that we may have offspring by our father." And that night again they made their father take much wine. And the younger daughter went into his bed, and he had no knowledge of when she went in or when she went away. And so the 2 daughters of Lot were with child by their father. And she gave him the name Moab. He is the father of the Moabites to this day. And the younger had a son and gave him the name Ben-Ammi. From him come the children of Ammon to this day. Genesis chapter 17. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord came to him and said, "I am God, ruler of all. Go in my ways and be upright in all things, and I will make an agreement between you and me, and your offspring will be greatly increased." And Abram went down on his face on the earth. And the Lord God went on talking with him and said, "As for me, my agreement is made with you, and you will be the father of nations without end. No longer will your name be Abram, but Abraham, for I have made you the father of a number of nations. I will make you very fertile, so that nations will come from you, and kings will be your offspring. And I will make between me and you and your seed after you through all generations an eternal agreement to be a God to you and to your seed after you. And to you and to your seed after you I will give the land in which you are living, all the land of Canaan for an eternal heritage, and I will be their God." And God said to Abraham on your side, "You are to keep the agreement, you and your seed after you through all generations. And this is the agreement which you are to keep with me. you and your seed after you. Every male among you is to undergo circumcision. In the flesh of your private parts you are to undergo it, as a mark of the agreement between me and you. Every male among you, from one generation to another, is to undergo circumcision when he is 8 days old. With every servant whose birth takes place in your house, or for whom you gave money to someone of another country, and not of your seed, he who comes to birth in your house and he who is made yours for a price, all are to undergo circumcision, so that my agreement may be marked in your flesh, an agreement for all time. And any male who does not undergo circumcision will be cut off from his people. My agreement has been broken by him. And God said, as for Sarai, your wife, from now her name will be not Sarai, but Sarah. And I will give her a blessing so that you will have a son by her. Truly my blessing will be on her, and she will be the mother of nations. Kings of peoples will be her offspring. Then Abraham went down on his face, and laughing said in his heart, May a man 100 years old have a child? Will Sarah at 90 years old give birth? And Abraham said to God, If only Ishmael's life might be your care. And God said, Not so, but Sarah, your wife, will have a son, and you will give him the name Isaac. And I will make my agreement with him forever, and with his seed after him. As for Ishmael, I have given ear to your prayer. Truly I have given him my blessing, and I will make him fertile and give him great increase. He will be the father of 12 chiefs, and I will make him a great nation. But my agreement will be with Isaac, to whom Sarah will give birth a year from this time. And having said these words, God went up from Abraham. And Abraham took Ishmael, his son, and all whose birth had taken place in his house, and all his servants whom he had made his for a price, every male of his house. And on that very day he gave them circumcision in the flesh of their private parts, as God had said to him. And Ishmael his son, Abraham and Ishmael his son, underwent circumcision on that very day, and all the men of his house underwent circumcision with him. Genesis chapter 13. And Abram went up out of Egypt with his wife and all he had, and Lot with him, and they came into the south. Now Abram had great wealth of cattle and silver and gold. And traveling on from the south, he came to Bethel, to the place where his tent had been before, between Bethel and Ai, to the place where he had made his first altar. And there Abram gave worship to the name of the Lord. And Lot, who went with him, had flocks and herds and tents, so that the land was not wide enough for the two of them. Their property was so great that there was not room for them together. And there was an argument between the keepers of Abram's cattle and the keepers of Lot's cattle. At that time the Canaanites and Perizzites were still living in the land. Then Abram said to Lot, Let there be no argument between me and you, and between my herdmen and your herdmen, for we are brothers. Is not all the land before you? Then let us go our separate ways. Saw that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord had sent destruction on Sodom and Gomorrah. It was like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt on the way to Zoar. So Lot took for himself all the valley of Jordan, and went to the east, and they were parted from one another. Abram went on living in the land of Canaan, and Lot went to the lowland towns, moving his tent as far as Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were evil and great sinners before the Lord. And the Lord had said to Abram, after Lot was parted from him, from this place where you are, take a look to the north and to the south, to the east and to the west. For all the land which you see I will give to you, and to your seed forever. And I will make your children like the dust of the earth, so that if the dust of the earth may be numbered, then will your children be numbered. Come, go through all the land from one end to the other, for I will give it to you. And Abram, moving his tent, came and made his living place by the holy tree of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and made an altar there to the Lord. Praise the Lord. Thanks for watching this video. Share this video on other people if you learn more through this message. Genesis chapter 14. Now in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goyim, they made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Bersheth, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, and Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela. All these came together in the valley of Sodom. For 12 years they were under the rule of Chedorlaomer. But in the 13th year they put off his control. And in the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings who were on his side overcame the Rephaim in Ashtaroth Karnaim, and the Zuzim in Ham, and the Emim in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and the Horites in their mountain Seir, driving them as far as El Paran, which is near the wasteland. Then they came back to En-Mishpat, making waste all the country of the Amalekites and of the Amorites living in Hazaz and Tamar. And the king of Sodom with the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela went out and put their forces in position in the valley of Sodom against Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goyim, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings against the 5. By the holy tree of Mamre the Amorite, the brother of Eshcol and Aner, who were friends of Abram. And Abram, hearing that his brother's son had been made a prisoner, took a band of his trained men, 318 of them sons of his house, and went after them as far as Dan. And separating his forces by night, he overcame them, putting them to flight and going after them as far as Hobah, which is on the north side of Damascus. And he got back all the goods, and Lot, his brother's son, with his goods and the women and the people. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, the priest of the Most High God, took bread and wine, and blessing him, said, May the blessing of the Most High God, maker of heaven and earth, be on Abram. And let the Most High God be praised, who has given into your hands those who were against you. Then Abram gave him a tenth of all the goods he had taken. And the king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the prisoners and take the goods for yourself. But Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have taken an oath to the Lord, the Most High God, maker of heaven and earth, that I will not take so much as a thread or the cord of a shoe of yours, so that you may not say, I have given wealth to Abram. Give me nothing but the food which the fighting men who went with me have had. But let Aner and Eshcol and Mamre have their part of the goods. Genesis chapter 15. After these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision, saying, Have no fear, Abram. But a son of your body will have your property after you. And Abram said, You have given me no child, and a servant in my house will get the heritage. Then said the Lord, This man will not get the heritage, but a son of your body will have your property after you. See if the stars may be numbered, even so will your seed be. And he had faith in the Lord. And he had faith in the Lord. And it was put to his account as righteousness. And he said to him, I am the Lord, who took you from Ur of the Chaldees, to give you this land for your heritage. And he said, O Lord God, how may I be certain that it will be mine? And he said, Take a young cow of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a sheep of 3 years old, and a dove and a young pigeon. All these he took, cutting them in two and putting one half opposite the other, but not cutting the birds in two. On Abram, and a dark cloud of fear And he said to Abram, "Truly, your seed will be living in a land which is not theirs, and they will come out from among them with great wealth. As for you, you will go to your fathers in peace." For at present the sin of the Amorite is not full. Then when the sun went down and it was dark, he saw a smoking To your seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, the Kenite, the Kenizzite, and the Cadmonite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Rephaim, and the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Girgashite, and the Jebusite. Genesis chapter 16. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had given him no children, and she had a servant, a woman of Egypt whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said to Abram, "See, the Lord has not let me have children. Go into my servant, for I may get a family through her." And Abram did as Sarai said. So after Abram had been living for 10 years in the land of Canaan, Sarai took Hagar, her Egyptian servant, to Abram for his wife. And he went into Hagar, and she became with child. And when she saw child, she no longer had any respect for her master's wife. And Sarai said, "May my wrong be on you. I gave you my servant for your wife." And when she saw that she was with child, she no longer had any respect for me. May the Lord be judge between you and me. Abram said, "The woman is in your power. Do with her whatever seems good to you." And Sarai was cruel to her, so that she went running away from her. And an angel of the Lord came to her by a fountain of water in the wasteland, by the fountain on the way to Shur. And he said, "Hagar, Sarai's servant, where have you come from, and where are you going?" She said, "I am running away from Sarai, my master's wife." And the angel said to her, "And put yourself under her authority." And the angel of the Lord said, "Will be greatly increased, so that it may not be numbered." And the angel of the Lord said, "See, and will give birth to a son, to whom you will give the name Ishmael. Ears of the Lord were opened to your sorrow, and he will be like a mountain ass among men. His hand will be against every man's hand against him, and he will keep his place against all his brothers." And to the Lord who was talking this name, "You are a God who is seen." For she said, "Have I not even here in the wasteland had a vision of God, and am still living?" So that fountain was named Fountain of Life and Vision. It is between Canaan to whom Abram gave the name of Ishmael. Abram was old when Hagar gave birth to Ishmael. Genesis chapter 18. Now the Lord came to him by the holy tree of Mamre, when he was seated in the doorway of his tent in the middle of the day. And lifting up his eyes, he saw 3 men before him, and seeing them, he went quickly to them from the door of the tent, and went down on his face to the earth, and said, My Lord, if now I have grace in your eyes, do not go away from your servant. Let me get water for washing your feet, and take your rest under the tree. And let me get a bit of bread to keep up your strength. And after that you may go on your way. For this is why you have come to your servant. And they said, Let it be so. Then Abraham went quickly into the tent, and said to Sarah, Get 3 measures of meal straightway, and make cakes. And running to the herd, he took a young ox, soft and fat, and gave it to the servant, and he quickly made it ready. And he took butter and milk and the young ox which he had made ready, and put it before them, waiting by them under the tree while they took food. And they said to him, Where is Sarah your wife? And he said, She is in the tent. And he said, I will certainly come back to you in the spring, and Sarah your wife will have a son. And his words came to the ears of Sarah, who was at the back of the tent door. Now Abraham and Sarah were very old, and Sarah was past the time for giving birth. And Sarah, laughing to herself, said, Now that I am used up, am I still to have pleasure, my husband himself being old? And the Lord said, Why was Sarah laughing and saying, Is it possible for me, being old, to give birth to a child? Is there any wonder which the Lord is not able to do? At the time I said, In the spring, I will come back to you, and Sarah will have a child. Then Sarah said, I was not laughing, for she was full of fear. And he said, No, but you are laughing. And the men went on from there in the direction of Sodom. And Abraham went with them on their way. And the Lord said, Am I to keep back from Abraham the knowledge of what I do? Seeing that Abraham will certainly become a great and strong nation, and his name will be used by all the nations of the earth as a blessing. For I have made him mine so that he may give orders to his children and those of his line after him, to keep the ways of the Lord, to do what is good and right, so that the Lord may do to Abraham as he has said. And the Lord said, Because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is very great, and their sin is very evil, I will go down now and see if their acts are as bad as they seem from the outcry which has come to me, and if they are not, I will see. And the men, turning from that place, went on to Sodom. But Abraham was still waiting before the Lord. And Abraham came near and said, Will you let destruction come on the upright with the sinners? If by chance there are 50 upright men in the town, will you give the place to destruction, and not have mercy on it because of the 50 upright men? Let such a thing be far from you. to put the upright to death with the sinner. Will not the judge of all the earth do right? And the Lord said, if there are 50 upright men in the town, I will have mercy on it because of them. And Abraham answering said, truly, truly, I who am only dust, have undertaken to put my thoughts before the Lord. If by chance there are 5 less than 50 upright men, will you give up all the town to destruction because of these 5? And he said, I will not give it to destruction if there are 45. And again he said to him, by chance there may be 40 there. And he said, I will not do it if there are 40. And he said, let not one. And he said, see now, I have undertaken to put my thoughts before the Lord. What if there are 20 there? And he said, I will have mercy because of the 20. And he said, oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will say only one word more. By chance there may be 10 there. And he said, I will have mercy because of the 10. And the Lord went on his way when his talk with Abraham was ended. Abraham went back to his place. Genesis chapter 20. And Abraham went on his way from there to the land of the south, and was living between Kadesh and Shur in Gerar. And Abraham said of Sarah his wife, she is my sister, and Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream in the night, and said to him, truly you are a dead man because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife. Now Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, Lord, will you put to death an upright nation? Did he not say to me himself, she is my sister? And she herself said, he is my brother. With an upright heart and clean hands have I done this. And God said to him in the dream, I see that you have done this with an upright heart, and I have kept you from sinning against me. For this reason I did not let you come near her. So now give the man back his wife, for he is a prophet, and let him say a prayer for you, so your life may be safe. But if you do not give her back, be certain that death will come to you and all your house. So Abimelech got up early in the morning and sent for all his servants and gave them word of these things, and they were full of fear. Then Abimelech sent for Abraham and said, what have you done to us? What wrong have I done you that you have put on me and on my kingdom so great a sin? You have done to me things which are not to be done. Abimelech said to Abraham, why did you do this thing? And Abraham said, because it seemed to me that there was no fear of God in this place, and that they might put me to death because of my wife. And, in fact, she is my sister, the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. And she became my wife. And when God sent me wandering from my father's house, I said to her, let this be the sign of your love for me. Wherever we go, say of me, he is my brother. Then Abimelech gave to Abraham sheep and oxen, and men servants and women servants. and gave him back his wife Sarah. And Abimelech said, See, all my land is before you. Take whatever place seems good to you. And he said to Sarah, See, I have given to your brother 1,000 bits of silver so that your wrong may be put right. Now your honor is clear in the eyes of all. To God. And God made Abimelech well again, and his wife and his women servants, so that they had children. To God. For the Lord had kept all the women of the house of Abimelech from having children, because of Sarah, Abraham's wife.